This is a little update video on the front seat in the Austin Swallow. As you can see, it's a bench seat. This is a 1931 model year, built in 1930, and it would have originally had individual seats which were adjustable front and back. The earlier cars, pre-1930, 1929, 1930 model years, had a bench seat. And the problem with the individual seats was lack of legroom, which meant that even though I'm not that tall, I struggled to fit in the car with individual seats. It got to the point where I could mount an individual seat, the driver's seat, but I had to mount it over centre in the car to get sufficient legroom. So I then thought I'd do a bench seat. Other owners have done the same, and I thought I'd make my own. So I did, and this is the result. It's got leather facings, which is done with the traditional tuck and roll, which is very forgiving for mistakes. So there's a few of them in there, but it's padded. And what I did was, the base is on a wooden box base, so it's open under the underside, and then I put pneumatic cushions to sit on, and it is actually quite comfortable. The problem I've got is when you sit in the car, there is no give in it. So when I'm sitting there, my view out of the windscreen is at high level, so I'm sitting too high up. So I'm changing the seat squab to a sprung base, which is what they would have had originally on the bench type seat on the earlier cars. The other problem I've got is the seat back. They are very flat looking. They don't look, never like the look of them. They need more padding to make them curve. They're comfortable. I mean, I've sat 9 hours in this car on a long drive, on 3 or 4 times, and they're comfortable for long distances, but just the visibility is a problem. The other thing about the seat is it's very quirky. To get in the back, the seat backrest is hinged, so it's like a door, which I absolutely love. I think that's very quirky, and I absolutely love that. I think that's really quite different. So what I'm going to do, so I'm upgrading the seat squab. I'm also going to upgrade the backrest as well. I mean, it's unfinished because I knew the way it was done, I wasn't happy with it. So it was like a Mark 1 version of the second lot of seats that was going in the car. So I will be taking the backs apart at some point and making them sprung as well, which again will give them a better curve. The rear seats have original spring seats in them, and I recovered those, and they aesthetically look right, whereas the front seats don't. This is the new seat squab. As you can see, it's sprung. What I've done is I bought a mesh top. You can buy the mesh top, which is what they used originally in the 1930s, still made today for sofas. Company in the UK, Wade Springs, supply the mesh stops, the springs, everything you need. When you contact them, they're very positive and encouraging, but then when you try to order something from them, they're an absolute nightmare to deal with. They won't respond. They don't respond to their distributors either. So in the end, what I did was I bought a repair kit for a sofa, which comprises the mesh top, the springs, and the base, which has got a metal grid system. I bought that, and I then took it to pieces and made it to fit my car, which is what this is. So you can see it's got a metal perimeter. You then cut the mesh to size, and you flip over the ends so to get the size you want. Then you've got this spiral spring which goes around the perimeter, which secures that in position, and then the actual springs themselves, they just simply rotate into the mesh and the edges into the spiral spring to make your mesh top, which is exactly how they do it in the factory. Because the car has a flat fork at the front and footwells at the back. I couldn't use the steel straps that they supply, which these are the remains of them, which I've adapted for just my own purposes here, and I used a board. So the front section, this side being the driver's side, this side being the passenger side, on ply, but it has to be cut out to fit around the transmission tunnel, which is what we've got here. And obviously this here is the guide for the fabric for the skirt to go around the transmission tunnel. At the back there's two footwells, one each side here and here, and you can see there's another bit of the transmission tunnel at the back which has been cut to avoid it. These two springs on each side, these two springs here and these two springs here, are unsupported. These 9 on each side here are supported by the car's floor, but these are mid-air. So I've put an extra piece of wood to strengthen the ply board between the two. The side ones, these side ones sit on a bit of floor, so they're supported, but they're not really doing any work because your bum is here. They're just really not doing much work. So hopefully it'll be all right. If not, I can strengthen it up. If it breaks, I can just replace the board and put another piece in and strengthen it. So in terms of the springing, you'll see that it's on a rake. So start off with 4" at the back, 4.5, 5. No, sorry, 190. It's 4.5 inches, 5 inches, 5.5 inches, 6 inches. These are all came with the seat parts I had, so I just put them in the right order to suit me. So when you sit on it, you get support to the underside of your legs, and the back compresses down, so you get a nice comfortable seating position. I've done a trial test to it, and it does what I want it to do. My eye vision through the windscreen is now much lower than was. I'm down a couple of inches. Hopefully it'll be perfect, because at the moment I'm too high up. When you get to traffic lights, you're sitting and have to crank your head round to try and see the traffic lights. So this should actually make it much easier, and you're looking at the windscreen through the centre part rather than the top section, which is not brilliant. So the next stage is to cover this with Hessian. Then once the Hessian's on, is to transfer the leather covers from the other seat squab, take that off and then put that on here, and then secure it all together, and that should be ready to go back in the car. Fingers crossed. I'll bring you back. I've now covered this with the Hessian, and I've stitched it around the edges to make it fix it firmly in place. These here are left loose to attach the leather facings when it comes on.